Why, hello there, everybody. That's right, you guessed it. It's Nick Dutch back again one more time for another delightful tarot show. That is essentially what we do here. When you can't see my hands and I'm talking and I'm occupied with other things, I'm normally shuffling the cards, because on this wonderful YouTube channel, what I do is tarot readings by request. That means that you can send me a request through. I'm planning on having a system of using an email address, and I've set up an email address now, which is nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. And that will be the new email address. Okay, you can still carry on sending them through via private message to this YouTube account if you wish, and I will be checking this as well, but I want to slowly move on to the Gmail account. And one of the reasons for this is because this this particular tarot show is going out on many more services now. Okay, it's going out on Daily Motion as well as YouTube, as well as going out on Blip TV, and it's getting, put out on other different services out there. People are finding it harder and harder to get the requests submitted through. So this is what I'm doing right now. Obviously, let me very quickly remind you, just in case you've forgotten, a tarot reading is legally sold as an entertainment service for obvious common sense reasons. Namely, I'm not here to give you the final answer. This is supposed to be part of your contemplation process, so that you can then work out, the answers for yourself, which is basically what it was all about anyway, okay? So, here we go. Okay, there's Horus. You've got a situation with somebody who's an ex. They've been in a relationship with you in the past. There's been some kind of connection or some kind of communication on and off. Basically, it's been a bit confusing, and you just want to know basically what is going on here. So that's what we do. We try and work out what is going on here. Obviously, fill in the blanks with whichever words, be they rude or otherwise, that you can possibly imagine. Standard 8 card relationship reading, Book of Thoth Tarot. Here we go. Okay, right. Energy and the force between the two of you, struggling to achieve a balance. The adjustment card was not upright, it was reversed, suggesting a feeling of imbalance. So essentially, you're dealing with someone who's quite a hurt individual, someone who's got a lot of pain going on inside there and doesn't quite know precisely how to behave and how to behave properly. As a result of that, it's very difficult for me, even in the here and now, after 4 years worth of progress, for me to be able to turn around to you and say this is an individual who's like totally sorted, totally calm, and will be able to provide you with absolutely everything with the passage of time. On their side of things, yes, there's a sense of there being some victory, but there's also a bit of a sense of there being a struggle and being a fight there, because that's one of the many meanings of the Chariot card. And of course, the sort of more negative connotations is being brought out by the fact that the adjustment card is reversed, as well as lots of other different things which are too complex for me to mention within this particular video. But there's still a sense of morality there. This is not an individual who's ever wanted to hurt anybody or ever wants to do anyone any harm. So it's not that kind of negativity. It is in fact very different in the fact that they want something good to occur. There's this desire to try and do something which is morally just and right, but not quite knowing how to do it. I mean, the projection into the future is still rather hot and cold. I mean, I can't guarantee this person's going to be perfect for you, because essentially we got signs of change. Yes, we've also got some signs of there being some kind of emotional negativity, but there's also a sense of there being progress there as well. So essentially it's rather interesting. It might be a little hot and cold, and I can't guarantee it's going to work out. But essentially, he's someone who needs to work on himself first, prior to me thinking for a minute that you've got a relationship there. Shane Connor Rice, music, theatre or musician, which one is it to be for your longer term career? Well, let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming on for you in here and now. Bear with me a second, please. Chronological spread. See what's coming through for you. Okay, very different types of energy here, because I feel that the career that you're contemplating in the here and now, and the career paths, both of them, are relevant to the here and now. They're relevant to the next 2 or 3 years. I don't think they're relevant to the next 20 or 30 years, so to speak, because essentially there's a long-term feeling here about your life and about your career and about what you can do with it. Alright, and it's not just in one particular niche. The very long-term future, that's what's over here, okay? Much more joy from composing. Now that leads me to believe that essentially musician is probably where you want to go basically in your shorter or mid-term future. But the musical theatre side of things will be a diversion, I feel, which will provide you with more knowledge and experience, that hands-on kind of intellectual head and heart type experience that you need if you're doing that style of performance work. I feel that the musical theatre type stuff is much more a diversion away from your true path, which I think is music, is composition. I see you being eventually as good as or better than John Williams and a few other great ones out there. I feel a good orchestral sense about you, and I feel that composition appears to be the thing for you. I feel you much more as a musical person more than a literary person. So will you be writing lyrics? Not necessarily. I mean, it's difficult to say, of course, because the way that you're going to take your creativity can move you in lots of different directions. But my impression is that you're good at expressing the subtleties and complexities of meaning through music. And it's a question of taking your experience now and putting all that little subtle knowledge together into a cohesive whole so you can start to communicate a picture and a message to somebody else. That's the way I'm seeing it. Ashika is inquiring about some friends in Holland and wants to know basically what's happening there, whether there's a possibility of there to be some kind of improvement to the relationship between Ashika and the people in Holland. Well, let's have a quick look and see what the reading says about that. We'll use the style of the 8-card relationship reading, but essentially we'll use it taking into account the question. And as a result of that, you know, it's not actually a relationship reading, it's more like a friendship reading, if you get my drift. But it's using the same kind of card, same kind of pattern to see basically what we can achieve for you there, okay? Yeah, looking very good, I'd say. I mean, the energy that we've got going through here and running through this reading is actually looking quite bright, quite sunny, quite positive, and just coming out there, the force between the two of you there. We've also got a sense in your midterm future, a sense of a change there, which is actually looking very good for you, okay? Obviously, the Death card speaks about change. It's not a negative card. It's talking about transformation. You've been building what looks like kind of like a foundation between yourself and them so far. It's a distance relationship because it's online, okay? And they will always be a bit rocky over the years. They always are. But don't worry about that. There is a feeling of an improvement, and as I say, quite sunny, quite bright, quite affectionate and loving. These are people who actually do think about you and think about your needs and where you want to go with your life as well, okay? So that's actually quite positive there. The emotions that they're giving off, very compassionate, very empathetic, also very stable people. They've all built up, you know, good careers, good backgrounds and the rest of that, and they know where they are and what they're about. Quite down-to-earth people, okay? And yeah, it's a stable friendship, and it looks like it's going to improve. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But what I would say is, yeah, just don't worry about it. Carry on being in touch with these people. I don't think you're going to have a revolution in your friendship with them overnight. But essentially, it's still a friendship, it's still good, and it's going to do you some good long term. Okay? The Lotus Lake is somebody who works in a potentially or possibly haunted house and wants me to have a quick look at it for them. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see basically whether there's any kind of strange energy coming on there. Actually, whilst I was discussing it with you, it's almost like some kind of connection happened between my mind and yours. The feeling is that there's people who either own it or live there who have some problems. There's a sense of a younger person who's doing things which are inappropriate and feels hard done by somehow. There's a sense of there being some kind of desire to keep things messy out of almost resentment. There is a feeling of there being a presence there. Would I say that is it a malevolent presence? No, it just needs to be loved or given something to calm it down. Now, if the people that live in this property don't have any allergies, maybe you can have a look at using a bit of rose oil in some of your cleaning chemicals, okay? Not much, literally just 1 drop per bucket, something really, really small. Just noticeable, but but only just enough to leave a bit of a lingering smell, okay? Just something really, really small and really light, okay? Just to see whether you can bring some extra love into the place. And if you don't want to do it with fragrance, you can always do it with stones, and maybe you can have a rose quartz and just leave that somewhere where no one will find it, just to be able to symbolise putting a bit of love into the place, because it does feel like there's an unloved feeling in that particular property. And the sensation I'm getting is just out of a need for, you know, structure and peace and balance and bringing things into alignment with things which are right. Okay, so it's bring that structure, bring that love into that property. You're doing it already because you're already working there as a domestic, making sure it looks nice and it feels nice. It certainly doesn't feel like it's going to hurt you. It certainly doesn't feel like it's going to hurt anybody else. It just feels lonely, upset, stressed, afraid. It's almost like the mentality of a child without parents. It's been abandoned. It feels very sad, and it just feels like it needs your love. But don't worry, it's not out to hurt you. Phoenix 93X. Okay, you've got a very troublesome relationship going on there, almost reaching a point of divorce, left, right and centre. Okay, well let's have a quick look and see what's going on. Now obviously I'm not in a position to be able to provide any form of medical diagnosis for your partner. Alright, so you'll have to find other ways of doing that. Obviously he's not going to be willing to try and sort that problem out. So I think you just need to be tolerant and just treat him as if he's got something wrong with him. Just to like help him calm down and help him see things in perspective and in clarity, okay? And from that point you'll be able to start feeling much more good things between you and him, I'm sure of it. Okay, here goes, yeah. He's trying to hold on to a certain quantity of authority, but on the other hand that feeling of authority is slightly misguided. Because he wants to be the person who is in charge. He's got a very traditional understanding as to what a family structure should be like, but unfortunately he doesn't really have the ability to be able to bring about that particular traditional family structure because things just aren't quite going according to plan on many different levels, okay? That's why we got signs of change, that's why we've got signs of destruction and irritability on his side of things, just not feeling very happy. On your side of things, yeah, there's a sensation of pain there brought about by him and about his mentality. You're feeling this like it's a bit of a fight. He's feeling this like he's got to get his own way. Alright, so he's not seeing it as a fight or as a struggle. You're seeing it as, let's just try and find a middle ground there, but he's not willing to do that. He's just got to like put his foot right in the middle of it and basically see what on earth is going to happen there. But there is still some love going on, despite the fact that it is troubled and it is complex. Progress in the short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Not looking too bad, I would say. I mean, there are some signs of healing there, but it's just not immediate. Then you've got a very stormy short-term future being the next couple of months to go through prior to things working themselves out. But I don't see an end to it. I don't see an end to the relationship. Now that's a good thing, provided of course that he does get some help. And I feel that some form of healing is going to happen here mid-term future towards the late autumn or end of this year. Something's got to give, and something will provide some goodness in this difficult situation. Okay, Flurry Pinol, we're going to do a short career reading for you. Okay, you're doing another Masters, you want to make sure you can get some work afterwards. Let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming through, what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies and all the rest of that are going to appear for you. Just bear with me a second, please. Alright, as far as moving to another country is concerned, there is a sense you'll be doing some work abroad, yes. I can't quite see precisely when that's going to be, so don't pressure me on that. That depends upon what's happening during your short-term future, when essentially there's some signs of there being some dynamics. Yes, you are going to get what you want as far as some work is concerned, and it is relatively short-term future, within 3 to 4 months at the very outside, without a shadow of a doubt. Don't forget the moral message of the Nine of Cups there, which is always, the Eight of Cups there, always talking about a sense of knowing what is the next right thing to do and not necessarily getting on with it and doing it. Putting in an awful lot of effort, but are you focusing in necessarily the right direction? That's the question I'd ask you today, because I'm just getting this feeling that you've got a lot of energy there, a lot of drive, a lot of determination, and you just need to focus it just a little bit more. You think there's lots of things out there which could be okay for you, but I think you need to be a bit more focused and a little bit more potentially realistic. Yet definitely use your character skills to be able to make sure you can get the job. Plenty of competition out there, that's why it's necessary to be pretty focused as to things which are just right for yourself. So, be aware of that and know that something is around the corner. I'm pretty strong on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, a lot of your inquiries to me had the words should in it. Like, should you go here, should you go there, should you do this, should you do that. I'm not here to answer that for you, because then you're taking all the authority, all the decision-making authority away from your own hands and placing it squarely in mine. And I don't like that. I don't like that because it's wrong. You're the person who controls your own life. You're the one who's in charge of it, and not Nick Dutch, despite how great and glorious I am, okay? Alright? Don't forget that, and that goes for all of you people out there. You are the final decision maker in your life, not your reader, not your clairvoyant, no one else, just you. Chungus88, it's great for you to drop me a little message there about, you know, your career direction, where you want to go, and how you want to basically sort of like move further forward. I'm sorry you're feeling so bad at the moment. Alright, lots of people are feeling bad at the moment. Lots of people are homeless at the moment, funnily enough. But essentially, you know, let's have a quick look and just see basically what's coming on through for you, and try and get some perspective and clarity for you. Alright, now let's have a quick look. You did ask me whether further schooling would be a good thing, but you just come out of college. I don't think that's quite right for you. I think you need to get yourself some stable work experience for a few years first and foremost. And I think that's being corroborated by what I'm seeing here, okay? Bringing about peace and balance, and developing that sense of self-actualization, feeling on top of the world again. That's not in the short-term future. The short-term future is dominated by trying to get the balance right. Now, you've already got some good academic signs there to suggest you've already got a good foundation in place. It's now a question of work experience and stability that you need now prior to even thinking about doing any other form of education, okay? You are a very bright individual. You're a very driven individual. These are some of your greatest attributes, and you need to use those to try and bring about the sense of joy, I mean real joy, which I foresee for your future, okay? That sense of joy is definitely there, but it's going to go bit by bit into the future. Now, there is something inside you now, which you can't sense and you can't feel, and it's called your confidence. And that confidence of yours has been knocked frequently, okay, over a long period of time. And now what I want you to do is I want you to nurture it, look after it, as if it's a plant you're growing in your garden. And you want to make sure it gets all the right quantities of sunlight and all the right quantities of fertilizer, and you look after it and you water it, and that little bit of confidence that's already inside you is going to start growing. But it's going to start growing bit by bit, and it will be slow, and it will have to be based upon more good experiences, and those good experiences will be brought about by you creating change in your life and creating change in your career. Now, your longer term future, that's what's looking very good indeed. Plenty of signs relating to wealth, and some good signs relating to victory. That's what I feel for you. But to get there, just as the reading says, you've got to nurture yourself. I really do feel it's more a question of work experience now rather than just through further education. But essentially there is the opportunities for education further on. The academic signs there were great. Maybe you want to consider the education to be something you do in the evenings, maybe. Just as a possibility. All I can do is make suggestions. You're the final decision maker. Hello, cloversong. Thank you very much for telling me what's happened since the last big reading that we've done. And thank you very much for pointing out that I've been able to actually help you there. Okay, little things like that, that's what makes my job worthwhile. Okay, I don't get it all the time. In fact, I get an awful lot of like unpleasant experiences. Okay, but when I do get these moments when I actually hear something positive, and as a result of things that I've said and ways in which I've helped you just to like adjust perspectives and like move your GPS back onto a better path, okay, that can really make me feel very good and very proud of the work I do. I'm very grateful for you having sent through that message to me today. Okay. So, thank you very much. Let's have a quick look and see how the future's going to work out. Will it be quite as bright and sunny as I felt it would be? And I feared it will be. Now, I've shuffled the tarot very, very, very thoroughly indeed. And for the forces between the two of you, we've got the Magician card, which always, or I often, associate with new beginnings. A new start. You found out more about each other. Okay? You've done the old schoolroom of life things for the relationship between the two of you. And it hasn't been easy. And in fact, yeah, there's still some progress that maybe you've got to do, and that definitely he's got to do as well. But you've still got your new beginnings. And the progression here, as far as the future is concerned, very passionate, very loving, and with great rewards later on down the line. What more need I say? I don't think you're always going to be completely out of the woods. I think that this is a difficult relationship situation to be in. But I also see some good things here for you in the longer term future. What you've learnt from trying to sort out this problem is what you've got to take with you. And you mustn't forget what you've learnt about yourself, what you've learnt about how to sort out a situation, the importance of communication and dealing with these issues, and the right way of dealing with these issues. Okay? You're a grown-up now. And I think that you can use that to really help you out. Okay, Apricus 30. Alright, one thing I will quickly say, Apricus 30, is I never, ever, 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 ever read on pregnancy, medical matters, or childbirth. Full stop. It's wrong. There are medical practitioners who can help you in that respect. Okay? So, what am I going to read on? I'm going to read on the next relationship you're going to have. We're going to see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are going to appear there. Here we go. There is a new individual coming in, quite dashing, quite jolly, quite full of life, slightly younger than you, quite empathic, quite sensitive, with a good, strong sense of, there is something spiritual about them. I would say very sensitive, a little bit of pain in their past, but they've overcome it. Very strong lunar energies associated with this one, so very creative, possibly technically driven as well, but not necessarily someone fulfilled in that particular way. Bit of an all-rounder, okay, wants to try lots of different things. Signs on your side of the reading towards them, being able to build a great quantity of loving affection. No signs of familiarity. This is not someone you already know at all. The other signs I've got here is a bit of a sense of intellectual progress with them. It's going to be a very important relationship for something good to occur, and it's going to be happening this year. Will this person be the love of your life? That is very hard to say. But essentially, there's definitely a sense of this individual coming into your life. It's not someone you already know, and there's great stuff happening further on down the line. Okay, so those are all the readings that we're going to be doing for the moment, okay? Don't forget, I never do questions relating to pregnancy, medical matters, childbirth, health, all the rest of that kind of stuff. I certainly won't ever touch questions relating to death or passing, because, you know, there's rules. You know, I have to obey the law. Yes, this is a regulated service. People often think, you know, well, what is it that Nick Dutch really does? Well, basically, I do a regulated service. So this is an entertainment service. That's the way it's sold. Okay. There are laws which govern it. There's various ways in which we should be working, ways in which we shouldn't be working. We've got to work within these guidelines. And so, taking that into account, what we do try and do is to try and provide a bit of help or guidance or support with some of the other issues that people are suffering from in their lives, as well as, of course, using our skills to try and provide you with a sense of, yeah, you know, there's going to be some change happening and it's going to be good. We do try and provide you with something uplifting and something which is going to drive you in the right direction. That's basically what we can do. Obviously, what I've done here in the tarot show today is just to provide you with a bit of a taster, okay? And remember, if you want to request a reading, you can send it through on the email address nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. And then from there, I'll be able to have a quick look and I'll be able to see basically what's coming through. You can still send them through as a private message on this YouTube account as well. Okay, I'm going to use both of them until I've fully transitioned over to the Gmail account. And then I'll add you to the rota. Okay, so don't send me War and Peace. Don't send me, you know, just like one line. Apart from that, it's probably, you know, more or less fair game. General readings I'm not doing as a video these days. I'm just not doing that. I'll provide that on the UK psychic line I work on, but I won't provide that on Keen or Live Person. Okay, there's ways in which I do work and ways in which I don't work. Don't be alarmed or concerned about that. Keep your requests coming in. Remember, in this particular show, you're the star.